Hello, hello, hello. So I am going to go through this article, some of my feedback. Um, so first of all, things that I've already done off camera, I just added a bit more spacing in there. So we don't do, technically formally correct writing of paragraphs with topic sentence, supporting sentences, and closing sentences. This is all about keeping things nice and spaced out for scrollers and scanners. So, because if they see a huge block of text, there's a really good chance they're just going to scroll past it and not read any of it. Whereas if things are spaced out, we might be able to catch them with a word or phrase that they care about, maybe able to hook them in, and maybe they'll read a ton more of the article than they otherwise would have. So that's something I've already done. One thing you do really well is the times you decide to bold stuff. That's really good. And one thing to note with your bolding text declaration in general, as well as your headlines and sub headlines, because I'm going to go get on it a bit here with the sub headlines, is that first of all, the combination of your headlines and sub headlines tell the whole story, right? So the way that I check for this is when a piece is done, I exclusively read just the headlines and sub headlines, and I make sure that every single point of the article has been communicated via those headlines and sub headlines, right? And they flow just the same way the story or the piece is supposed to flow, and that everything comes across that way. So this way, when people scan, they still get the entire gist of the article. They still get all the important information that we want them to get. Now, the second important thing with your headlines, and I'll start with the main headline here, is we want this baby to be compelling. We, rather than saying what we're going to do in the article, we kind of want to make the point in here already. Like, why does it matter? So it might be something like the average woman's medicine cabinet has 6,100 toxins in it. Ellipses, why vegan, cruelty-free skincare matters, right? So they're like, oh crap, I need to read this. I need to know about this. This is actually quite important to me. And there'll be some more things that I catch on through the article here that helps us drive that point home. But similarly, the same thing. With this one, it's okay because we're answering kind of the basic question and getting the information out there. What exactly is vegan skincare? So that's okay. But another thing we have an opportunity to do here is because we're not just a vegan brand, right? We're a plant-based brand. Whereas vegan is sort of exclusionary and it's about what we don't eat. Adding that emphasis on being plant-based is about what we are, right? Because people kind of intuitively understand by now that plants have a ton of nutrients and, they're very good for you. So it's not just about what we leave out, it's about what we are and what we include in all of our products too, right? So I think that's an important point to be made somewhere in there. Similarly, again, with the cruelty-free, no more bunnies tortured in cages. Why we care about being cruelty-free, right? So a huge opportunity to be hella compelling and really capture the reader's attention right there. And I do think you make a fantastic and important point that just because one thing is vegan doesn't mean it's cruelty-free and vice versa. So this is an opportunity for you to really paint the picture and really tell that story. So a brand could very well use vegan plant-based products, but somewhere along the lines, be that in development, be that in testing, they, shave a little fur off a bunny who's kept in a cage all day, doesn't get to live in grass, doesn't get to eat carrots, and he gets this little, cream rubbed on him. And so by telling that story of the bunny, and you're talking about one bunny in one cage, the reader is picturing that in their head. And even if we're talking about our brand and our products or not, when you're telling a story and a reader is picturing that story in their head, it's almost like you're hypnotizing them, right? Because you're telling them what to see and then they're seeing it. So even if we're not yet making a point about our own products, we are connecting with the reader in a really, really powerful way. So when we describe cruelty-free stuff, that's a huge opportunity to, again, make it about that one bunny, really paint the image and bring it home for the reader. Benefits is an abstract word, right? So the nourishing properties, the transformative properties of vegan and cruelty skincare. And you can even get more specific than that. I want you to really drill it down and get hyper specific, right? So the glow boosting properties or the skin tightening properties, what do they see in the mirror, right? Because they don't see benefits. They see, oh, my skin looks brighter, or oh, my acne is fading. So get really specific about what they see in the mirror. And again, we're sort of making the claim, we're making the point in the headline itself. They don't have to dig through the body text to get that headline. Very similarly with gentle effects, right? Like, why are gentle effects really, really good? Well, one, for sensitive skin, absolutely, that's really important. And two, you can use these products every single day. That's why it's important that they're gentle. Whereas a really harsh peel that you do once, a quarter, it causes inflammation to the skin. It risks doing more harm than good. These are gentle enough to use every day while being incredibly potent. So that's, however you're going to massage that into the headline, I leave that to you. I trust you to do that, but that's the sort of idea we're going for here. Similarly with nourishing, why is that important? What am I going to get out of them being nourishing? Put it right in the headline itself so that everybody reads it and so that it catches everybody's attention. Another important thing I want to note is you start in the beginning of the article with this really friendly, conversational, sort of colloquial tone, right? You're asking questions, you're engaging with the reader. As we go on, it becomes a little bit more rigid. We don't really need that, right? We're a beauty brand, we're fun, we're light, we're happy, we're legit, and we're backed by research, and we know what we're talking about, but we're still fun and conversational to the reader. So you can definitely keep that tone throughout the piece, and whenever you see an opportunity to make the writing a little bit more conversational, definitely go for that, especially through our citations and the level of research in our ingredients. Everybody's going to understand that we're legit, but we're also conversational and fun. So speaking of citations, I think this was really good that you did this here, that you put the ingredients in bold. Anytime we talk about specific ingredients, we're giving value to the reader, right? Because even if they don't use our products, they're going to learn, oh, cinnamon is good for my skin. I had no idea, right? So that's a good opportunity, again, to put it in bold so they get that bit of value from us. This would also be a good place to include a citation, because I'm sure there are a ton of studies, and I know there are a ton of studies that talk about how good aloe, tea tree, etc. are for the skin. So that would be a good opportunity to use a citation right there, just to improve our credibility, show that we're well researched, both in the eyes of our readers and in the eyes of our social media overlords who determine our page quality and stuff like that. Talking about so vegan diet. I would like us to steer clear of talking about a vegan diet. Why? Because we have a huge opportunity to market to people who don't eat a vegan diet, right? And that's why it's so important to talk about the ingredients we do include, all the plant-based, the botanical stuff, instead of really focusing on everything that we're leaving out. We talk more about what we are, right? So, there are a lot of jokes about vegans, right? Like, how do you know somebody's a vegan? They've told you in the first 5 minutes of meeting them. So we don't want our market to become put off and think that we have this moral superiority as a vegan brand, because we don't. It's not, of course, it is about sustainability, protecting animals, etc. But it's also about all of the benefits we get of using plant-based ingredients, right? It's not about being exclusionary. So I would just steer clear of ever talking about a vegan diet. And then you could even make the point, both here and up early on in the article, that even if you don't follow a vegan diet, this article is going to show why, it'll be so amazing for the skin to practice a vegan skincare routine, right? So that's that. Now, I see you have the citation here, which is great. I just want to talk about the specific way we do the citations, because while this is totally formally correct, and I get that, we, in our practice, don't want anybody to click off of our website, right? So instead of linking this text, we'll just create a superscript, right? Like the little number 1 up there. And then at the bottom of the article, we'll paste the link, but it won't be linked. So if somebody really wants to check out that study, they're more than welcome to copy and paste that link in a new tab, go check the study. But we especially don't want anybody clicking off, especially we don't want them accidentally clicking off, right? Because it's a link that they didn't even mean to leave. And then in today's ADD world, we very well could have lost them. So that's how we do the citations. And now here, look at this. Look at what happens here. The skin is the human body's largest organ. Who wouldn't want to nourish that? See, I can tell you even got excited writing it, right? Because you put the exclamation point, you put this is huge. This is one of those things you want to take out and pull it up to the top, because it's like sort of the crux of this whole thing. Why does it matter? Because yes, your skin is your body's largest organ. It's your largest organ for detoxification. So if things are clogged and things aren't going right, then your body cannot detox the way it's supposed to. And it's also a huge organ of absorption, right? Anything that we put on the skin penetrates into the bloodstream in about 30 seconds. Of course, you want to find a citation for that. There are dozens of them. And that's why this is also important, because we're talking about a real organ of your body here, right? You wouldn't overload your liver with, toxic ingredients, constantly hammering it all day long. You wouldn't want to overload your lungs with smoke, right? So similarly, we're talking about an organ of the skin here. It's very serious. While it's fun and it's beauty and it's all that, it is also serious. So what happened here, and this happens with writers a lot, is through the process of writing, you've kind of come to this really big, good point, right? And you would have only gotten there by writing, by the act of it. But what happens is we don't edit for that, and it doesn't get pulled out front and center into the spotlight where it should be, because it's super compelling and super important. So that's something I'm always looking out for in the editing phase, is where did that sort of match ignite? And, oh crap, let me get that out there and let me put it up to the front, because it really encompasses a lot of my points. It's really compelling and it's really important. So there's a huge opportunity to do that with that little sentence right there. Again, there's an opportunity to make this way bigger and more impactful than it is, right? So I think kind of based on the things I've already said, you'll find a way to do that. And I think all of this stuff is okay. So I think it's great that you ended the article with a call to action. That's always really super important. And we have beauty and benefits. Again, benefits vague, right? So what are the benefits? And also, we have an opportunity here to distinguish us from other clean beauty brands because of our high potency, right? So a lot of clean, natural brands with good ingredients, their first ingredient will still be water. Why? Because it's cheaper to produce. So that's not the case in any of our products. 100% of our ingredients are purposefully included to bring results, not to lower our costs. So there's a huge opportunity there to distinguish us from even other vegan, cruelty-free, clean beauty brands. And I definitely want to include a paragraph about that. So, ready to explore the difference in high potency natural skincare, click over to Eden Beauty and check out our guaranteed systems. I always like including that everything is guaranteed, because especially on the internet, a lot of people feel they don't want to be scammed, right? So we include our really stellar kind of industry leading 6-month guarantee. And that's that. So I hope this information is helpful. I'm excited to see what comes next on the second go around. The writing itself is, without flaw. I knew that would be the case going in. It's just a matter of punching it up to the next level so that we go from an article that delivers good information to something that compels them, that makes them care about us, makes them care about the brand, makes them care about these causes too, right? So I'm super excited for that. Thank you so much, and I'll be in touch.